we've seen a lot of optimism across the spectrum in all sectors of the market, obviously. A lot of optimism around, the stimulus package coming into today and hopefully throughout before this weekend is up, they'll likely get something done. So for us, yes, small caps has been a nice space to kind of allocate capital towards, but we've really levered towards industrial and materials and the healthcare space as well, where we see kind of opportunity in the long end.
Yeah, I mean, it's been this run, and when you look out, Bitcoin's up $1,300 right now, Jason. I mean, right now, Bitcoin is up $1,300 overnight. Small caps up, real estate's up. I mean, everything is up except for the Eagles' record. I mean, I'm just wondering, where's all this money coming from?
Yeah. So, the other thing I will say is there's a lot of capital that's been on the sidelines. Like my son mentions to me, fear of missing out, FOMO. I just learned that the other day. But yeah, there's a lot of optimism across the markets and all the sectors, and again, I think, this year has been a year of multiple expansion. I think going into next year, it'll be more about, the kind of the growth story and really looking at, earnings, and making sure that those earnings are supporting the expansion that we've seen over the last couple of quarters this year.
Yeah, it certainly has been. I mean, is there any part of the market that you would sell to raise money to buy stuff that, if there's anything, by the way, Jason, that may still be slightly undervalued?
Yeah, so that's a great question. I mean, what we've really sold, we haven't sold a lot of equity because we've seen the breadth. I mean, you've seen the RSP is up almost 10% in the last 60 days. We've really sold some of the debt, some of the fixed income that we've had, which is not a lot, and transition that capital into the healthcare, we've been levered heavily on the tech and discretionary side, but we have, started to leverage the healthcare materials in the industrial space over the last, several months, just to kind of round us out from an allocation perspective.
How much sort of, I don't know, COVID vaccine risk, I don't know what to call it, Jason. A lot of optimism. You could feel it. I felt it on the road the last few days. Vaccines are coming. It's going to be a tough couple months, but people can sort of see the beginning of the end. Is there too much optimism on that priced in?
So I believe to a large degree a lot of it's priced in. But again, when I kind of look at going forward, in the earnings story, looking at companies with solid multiples, really looking at balance sheets again, because this year a lot of those metrics, that we generally follow has been thrown out the window. So I do think, if you're kind of looking for the value play and looking at some of those metrics, I think we'll kind of see that's where the growth will be, going into 21.
Yeah, and there's a lot of expectation also, Jason, that Congress will get some kind of relief bill done. They're negotiating. Elon talked about it a few moments ago. They're getting close, but we assume it will get done. My dad used to tell me what assume means. It makes something out of you and me. And what happens if Congress doesn't get it done? How much stimulus hope is in the market as well?
Yeah, so that would be very challenging. Main Street is struggling. I mean, that's the heartbeat of our economy, and we need to get something done, right? Because the bifurcation between Main Street and Wall Street is growing every day. So we definitely need to see something happen, hopefully prior to the new year. Mm-hmm. And I do think at some point it will impact the markets. Obviously, these small businesses don't show up in the major indices, but they will impact, as we start to look at, everyday folks struggling and, that savings rate coming down, and, that will have an impact long term. So we need to make sure that, something gets done over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, a huge impact, and they need it. Before we go, let's switch gears completely very quickly. Are you a buyer of Bitcoin, Jason? Bitcoin's up $1,300 right now.
Yeah. So we really like the fintech space. We've been major buyers of PayPal. I think PayPal, just creating that platform for folks transact in the Bitcoin space, I think has been huge. So I do think there's opportunity there, and I think there's continued run, and it will continue to grow over the next, several years and a couple quarters.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.